Have you ever wondered what the Omega Seamaster would look like as a compressor? Me neither. But life is full of surprises. I feel like this new Eagle Ray embodies the spirit of the Seamaster, and it only costs 5% of the price. I know what you must be thinking. This looks nothing like a Seamaster, but hear me out. There are more than a few things on this watch that remind me of the Omega. See if you can spot them all before I point them out. If you're getting a weird sense of deja vu, it's probably because this is not exactly a new model. The Eagle Ray has been around for a while, but Phoibos made some tweaks and added a new champagne colorway, so you have 5 variations to choose from this time. As for the tweaks, they've changed 2 things from the earlier model. They've moved the date window from 3 to 6 o'clock, and they've gotten rid of the Roman numerals on the minute track. The changes are subtle, but they make the dial look much cleaner. After all, why fix something that's not broken? On that note, something you'll probably never break is the case. It's built like a tank. You'll feel the heft and build quality the moment you hold it in your hands. I go through a lot of watches, and I mean a lot of watches. It's reached a point where my wife lost track and stopped commenting on them. But this was the first watch she noticed me wearing in a while, and the only thing she said was, "That's a big watch." I think that's because the dimensions don't tell the full story here. It looks more like a 42 or 43mm case because of the large crystal and inner bezel. So if you have smaller wrists like me, this will look like a big watch. The case is almost entirely brushed, except for the polished bezel and chamfer that runs down through the lugs. The fit and finish are incredibly good, with consistent brushing and crisp transitions. This is right up there with San Martin as some of the best finishing I've seen on a sub $500 watch. The fluted bezel is a nice touch and it ties in well with the crowns. Like all compressor divers, this case has 2 crowns. This is the first thing that reminds me of the Seamaster, although the 2 crowns on that watch are on opposite sides of the case. On this Phoibos, the top crown controls the inner rotating bezel, and the lower crown controls the time setting functions. The knurling gives both crowns an excellent grip, and they screw in and out very smoothly. The crown that controls the inner bezel has a certain tactile sensation when you're rotating it. Unlike an external dive bezel, this rotates bidirectionally, and it has fully graduated minute markers, so you can time that pasta on the stove right down to the minute. Moving on to the crystal, it's a double dome sapphire with 3 layers of clear AR coating. It does a good job of minimizing reflections, but it doesn't get rid of them completely. You're still going to see some reflections in certain lightings, but that's just the characteristic of dome crystals. The dial is the definite star of the show here. The textured pattern looks incredibly striking with tons of light play. I don't know if there's a name for this pattern, but I'm gonna call it the hyperspace dial. It reminds me of the hyperspace jump effect in Star Wars movies, all 6 of them. Is there another name for this pattern, or can we just call it the hyperspace dial? Let me know in the comments. I went with this variant because I love the black and gold color combo. Almost everything on the dial is gold, but they've added a few red accents that really make the dial pop. The dial has more than a few Seamaster inspired elements. The indices have the same shapes, it has the same layout with that 6 o'clock date, and it even has that red tip on the second hand. Take nothing away from Phoibos though, they executed all of these elements perfectly. The hands and applied indices look flawless. I couldn't find any dust or scratches on the macro. Even that somewhat complex Phoibos logo is printed flawlessly. This is definitely one of those dials that you'll stare at aimlessly throughout the day. There's so much texture to pull you in, and those colors just look so good together. The old radium lume gives off a vintage yellow color during the day, and it glows in green when the lights go out. I love that they've lumed the bezel markings too. This lume doesn't have the strongest glow, but that's just the way old radium lume is. So if you're a lume junkie, go with one of the other dial colors instead. All of those come with blue BGW9 lume, so you can expect a stronger glow than the one you see here. Over the back of the watch, there's a cool engraved case back with the infamous Phoibos octopus. And the movement under the case back? Well, you guessed it. The Seiko NH35. I've lost track of the number of watches I've owned with this movement, but there's a reason why it's so popular. It's a robust movement that keeps great time, if you get a good unit like I did. Mine came in at plus 7 seconds per day, which is well within Seiko's range for this movement. Okay, on to the most obvious Seamaster inspired element, that bracelet. I mean, look at it. It's a spitting image of the Omega Seamaster's bracelet. I've always wanted to try this style out, so I'm kinda glad Phoibos used this design for the Eagle Ray. Like the case, the bracelet is incredibly well built. It feels robust, and that brush finish with those polished details looks really good. For such a robust bracelet, it feels surprisingly comfortable on the wrist. That's mostly because all the edges on the links feel soft and rounded. The links also have decent articulation, but those protruding end links may be a problem for smaller wrists. They increase the effective lug-to-lug of the watch from 47mm to 53mm. If you have smaller wrists than me, you might be better off pairing this watch with a different strap. The mill clasp looks and feels great, but I wish they used the octopus logo instead of the brand name. It only has 3 adjustment positions though, so you might have issues getting a perfect fit. I got lucky on my unit, but your mileage may vary. Overall, I think this new Eagle Ray is an absolute banger. It looks great and it feels great. This is actually my first Phoibos, but if all their watches have the same level of quality, it's definitely not going to be my last. There's a ton of refinement here that you don't usually find in watches at this price range. Speaking of price, this new Eagle Ray debuts on December 18. Phoibos is rolling out discounts for the first month, so you can snag one for $288. Considering the regular price is $360, that's quite a sweet deal. If you're interested, I'd recommend grabbing one during the discount period. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find many better watches at $288. I hope Phoibos has plans to release a 39mm version soon. I think that's going to make me, and a lot of you, very happy too. If you want something smaller with the same color scheme, check out my review of this watch over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.